Hey everybody, and welcome to Let's Look at PID. This Let's Look At is a little bit late off the draw, but I hope you'll forgive me. This is basically a puzzle platformer. I realize I say that in almost every fucking Let's Look At now. Incredipede, I always bring up Vessel, On Mechanical, Braid, etc, etc. Anyway, this one is a little bit different. In the vein of all those puzzle platformers, it has its own little gimmick, but it's also got a nice, cute little aesthetic. Anyway, you're going to see what's going on here. There are hooks to this game as I press enter, and by enter I mean the A button on my Xbox 360 controller, because I always have a natural preference for controllers when I'm playing PC platformers. So I should mention I am playing this on Steam, but it is available on Xbox Live Arcade. I'm not sure about PSN, but when we talked to these guys at PAX, they said they were doing all platforms all at the same time, so I assume that this is out or forthcoming for PSN anyway. So we're going to start game. And I basically have two games here. As you can see, I've got a Slot A sitting room, which is about 2 hours into the game, and that's on co-op. And then I have Slot B, which is single player, only about 3 minutes in. That's what we're going to be playing right now. But I should mention that the co-op is a huge, huge part of PID. I've spent almost, as you can see here, like 98% of my time with this game with the co-op. And that is where I think the meat of the game is going to be, or the meat of the entertainment is going to be for a lot of people. But there's no functional difference between the single player and the co-op, except for the fact that in single player there's only one person, and in co-op there's two people. The functional mechanics of the game do not change at all, except basically you have two abilities. I'll just explain it whatever when we get into our single player game mode here. So this is very, very near to the start of the game. There is a story going on, but I don't think there's too much need to explain this story. But basically we are a child who was on his way home from interstellar school. This takes place obviously in the near future or in some galaxy far, far away. But he was on his home on the space school bus, and then it basically crash landed or sucked him out from the school bus onto this weird planet, and he's got to find his way to the bus station so that he can get back to his family. So we're playing as this gentleman right here, who is nameless but not silent, and basically right now we only have one ability, which is jump, although we are going to gain another ability very, very soon as we move throughout here. So as you can see, we've got the ability to kind of do some crawling, basically standard platforming mechanics here. If you've ever played a platformer before in your entire life, you're going to be able to get used to the control system and the mechanics of PID very easily, but as in all of these new indie puzzle platformers, there is a gimmick here. As I open up our treasure chest, you will see what it is. We get a big beam of light that comes all over our face. No, obviously, that would not be rated E for everyone. Instead, we actually gain the ability, as the game will probably explain. What is this glowing ball? It won't let go. So we've just received the beam. Press downwards Hadoken to throw a gem to create a beam. That's actually the X button. One of the complaints I have about this game is that I think its interface, or the way it kind of tutorializes things, is difficult. It's like, it's always press Y button. Well, not Y. I should press Z button to do this. And you're like, well, okay, I don't know what Z button is. I'm on an Xbox 360 controller. I would prefer if it just had button prompts. But anyway, as you can see, we've got this gravity well, basically. And that is going to be our principal mechanic for getting around in this game. So the only difference now, I can explain it, between the co-op and the single player is that in co-op, you have two people, each one only gets one beam, whereas in single player, you get two beams yourself, as you can see by that tutorialization down at the bottom. So again, there is no functional difference between co-op and single player, except for the fact that you have two people, and that creates its own kind of zany atmosphere, like a new Super Mario Bros. Style, where the co-op is often destructive as it is constructive, so you end up hurting yourself and your teammate as much as you end up hurting other people. But I'm just going to run through, 15, 20, 25, 30 minutes of PID here, so you guys can get an idea of what it's about. So this is a game that Mike and I played a pretty decent amount of at PAX. It was actually the first game that we checked out at PAX Prime this year in Seattle. And we had a pretty good time with this back then, and it looks to pretty much have been in a finished state. I mean, that was only like 2 months ago, so the game was pretty much primed for completion. I should point out that as we progress here, we are getting these stars. These stars functionally serve as a currency for us, and this currency will allow us to buy... it's not a good beam. This currency will allow us to buy upgrades, as well as some consumables that will be important for us. This beam might be good enough. That was a little close, though. And there are secret areas which I have to keep an eye out for, but I don't think there's one there. But yes, in any case, I should point out that as well, you are capable of either throwing the beam, as you can see right there, or what I use more often, which is just throwing the beam straight down. So overall, I mean, it's difficult to... I don't want to make it seem like I'm cutting this Let's Look At short or anything, because obviously I'm going to continue playing just so you guys can kind of get a feel for what this game's about. However, I kind of feel like I've explained enough of the general premise of PID that you guys can actually get an understanding for what's going on right now. I can talk about my overall impressions. Overall, I think this game is 10 bucks. And I think it's solid, especially if you have somebody to play it with. But single player, it seems a little bit shallow. It's one of those games where you're basically like, okay, it's a platformer with a gimmick. I like the art style. It's cutesy. It's got kind of like a puppet or even like Playmobil type feel to it. And the music's decent. Good boss battles, but which we probably won't see any of. This guy's just going to tell me everything is not as it seems. But the gameplay itself, from a single-player standpoint, is a little bit shallow. I think that the co-op makes up for this. Some people may not. I mean, I played this for a couple hours with my girlfriend, and I was like, I think PID is pretty fun. Like, this is one of the most fun times I've had with the co-op game this year. But that's because I was playing as player 1, and as player 2, she was like, I have no control over the camera. I feel like one person is basically just leading the show, because the way that the co-op works in this game is that the camera does not really, I mean, it pulls out a little bit, but not really. And it definitely does not do, can I make this happen? It definitely does not do what a lot of co-op games do, where they like split the camera, depending on, can I do this? Nope, that's actually gonna kill me. Where it splits the camera depending, like when the players get far away. It does not do that, which can be kind of a problem. Oh, that's not good. Can be kind of a problem, honestly, because if you get a little bit far off screen, you can find yourself dying fairly quickly. Not that the game is supremely difficult or anything like that. But, can I make this one? Yes, I can. Not that the game is supremely difficult, but when you can't see where you're going and there's a lot of spikes and pits, and yes, we will come across enemies soon as well, things can go wrong very quickly. But I do kind of dig this mechanic. Oh, come on, I touched the spikes there. All because I want these stars that actually, from a gameplay perspective, oftentimes turn out to be functionally useless. But yeah, what I was just getting at is there's a lot of hazards, so sometimes the camera can prove to be a little bit of a problem when you're playing co-op. And I completely understand where people are coming from. I've heard some people talk about this game. Most people are saying PID is merely solid. I'm not sure if I 100% agree with that. But I certainly understand complaints from the co-op standpoint. And if you're just getting this game just to play single player, I mean, it's 10 bucks for an experience that's probably going to last you 3 to 4 hours based on the fact that I have, 25% of the achievements in roughly 2 hours played. That math doesn't add up. Maybe it's more like 5 to 6 hours. I hesitate to say 8 because some of those achievements are probably based on the fact that we're playing with 2 people. But yeah, 4, 5, 6 hours maybe for 10 bucks is a pretty good value. But don't expect anything too revolutionary. And too revolutionary, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by what you get with PID, shall we put it that way. I do dig the aesthetic. I'm just kind of like, as much as I wouldn't necessarily consider them my genre of choice, but I love puzzle platformers, but I'm kind of getting, don't hit the spikes, a little bit of puzzle platformer fatigue, to be honest with you. There's just so many. And I am actually kind of unsure what to do here. So we can hang out like this. We can throw a beam like that. Wonder if we just continually throw beams upwards, if we can push ourselves into an area where I can actually not fall on the spikes. Don't fall on this. Bah! I tried. Let's try this again. That's the other thing about co-op is that, the old adage, 2 heads are better than 1 definitely proves true. Sometimes, not that the puzzles in this game are difficult, but sometimes it helps to have a second person around just to be like, hey, you're being a big dummy. Just do this instead. So let's toss some gravity wells down here. This is not great for us. I think we want to do something like that. Yeah, that'll work better. Okay, and then we'll cross this one. So as you can see, I mean, you can stick the gravity wells to pretty much any surface, and it will send out a beam perpendicular to the surface itself, which is useful and allows for some interesting puzzles in ways that you've never really thought of platformer puzzles before, typically in just an up-down function. We're dealing a lot with angles here, then, horizontal beams that'll push us across pits and things like that. We are at a point where we can now buy something. And we can also talk to people. I should talk to this guy. And you'll see the made-up language that the game is taking place in. Well, the logical explanation for this phenomena is that I am stealing all the stars out of the sky to buy life vests. Alright, so I'm just going to basically skip by all this talk. There is a story that goes on here, and the story actually does tie into the gameplay to a certain extent. This story about the royal family, and we'll come across palaces and, regal dining halls and things like that. But anyway, we are going to avoid this. We're just trying to get to the city right now. You can almost consider this like Machinarium or something. Here's one of the major complaints I have about this game. So we have 135 stars, and we can exchange our stars for useful items. So this is a life vest. We'll buy this right here. So this is going to cost us 65 stars. The thing about buying the life vest is that this is just a temporary upgrade. It allows us to get hit once and then still survive. Where do I want to go? Oh, I want to go up, right. Now the thing is, this kind of creates a situation where you're buying these consumables, but it doesn't really matter that the consumables exist, because it's certainly possible to get through a lot of every area in the game, I assume, without being hit. So for me to spend like half of the stars I've earned on a single, like avoiding a single hit, doesn't seem to make any sense to me when there's no punishment really for you dying, if that makes sense. Like, basically, why would I buy a life vest that will keep me from... Oh, that's not good. Why would I buy a life vest that protects me from 1 damage, as you can see right there, when there's no consequence for dying? Like, if I die, I just respawn right here. And once the life vest is hit once, it's game over. So, I don't know, it's a little weird. Later on, you can buy things like bombs that are essential to solving puzzles, but it just kind of seems shoehorned in there. What I much would have preferred is almost like a Metroidvania style, where you could buy upgrades that actually permanently affected you. Like, maybe you could get a 3rd gravity well or something, or even like, in a game like Trine does it really well. Because in Trine, even though it's a puzzle platformer, they keep things from becoming too unbalanced, but they also give you the option to kind of have your own tech tree that you can upgrade into using the gems that you get. This, sadly, has nothing like that, and it makes the star system feel a little bit shallow, because I don't really feel the need to spend my stars on useless consumables. Especially the life vest makes no sense to me, because if you're playing well, you should be able to get through all these areas without getting hit once. I guess it's a nice cushion if you're not doing so hot, but I've never really run into too many problems where it seems like the life vest is essential. So this is a mechanic that they're teaching us about here. Basically, blue blocks are polished, so we can't put gravity wells on them. However, we are going to learn a little bit, as I totally fucked this up. We're going to learn a little bit about one mechanic I talked about very recently, and that is going to be bombs. So by going in here, we can buy some bombs. Again, I'm going to skip by most of this dialogue here. You kind of get a feel for the simlish that's going on here. This guy's hiding in here with his weapon stockpile. We're going to take some bombs, if he would let us in here. There we go. So we're just going to take these, and by pressing backpack, we can access the backpack. That's actually the back button on the Xbox 360 controller. And then by using left trigger or right trigger, we can equip these. So why not equip these to left trigger? As you can see, if we go back here, there's a lot of upgrades that you can potentially get. I've only seen bombs, I think. I've seen bombs and life vests, but nothing else in my first, 2 or so hours with the game so far. So take that as you will. It's pretty clear what areas we need to explode with bombs here. Looks like I need to find something to destroy that wall. One step ahead of you, buddy. Actually, our protagonist is not nameless, by the way. I mentioned that at the start. He's actually named Kurt. That was a mistake on my part. I'm gonna come through here. And again, so there's areas where you can buy bombs, but in true, puzzle platformer fashion, there's never any areas where if you need a bomb, you won't be able to get a bomb. So it's kind of unnecessary most of the time to have to buy bombs. I'd more feel... I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I more feel that, like, I'd rather spend my currency on something else, but there's nothing really to spend my currency on, which is a complaint with this game. Is like, why have these stars if you're not going to really use them for any meaningful purpose? To me, it just feels like they were like, well, it's a puzzle platformer, or it's a platformer, I should say, I guess. We need to have the player collect something. So, why not collect these stars? Well, what are we going to do with the stars? Well, he can buy useless puzzle elements that he can also just, normally find in the environment. I don't know. Like I said, it just seems a little bit shallow to me. It doesn't take away from the experience too much, but it just kind of feels like needless filler when, lots of puzzle platformers exist where the only reward they give the player is, the feeling of satisfaction for having beaten the level itself, right? Or solving the puzzle itself. So I don't necessarily feel like this whole currency system and collecting stars system is necessary. Maybe, to be 100% fair, I haven't played all that much of this game. Maybe it comes grossly in handy as you get later and later on in the game. I doubt it, but as it is right now, like, I never feel the need to buy anything with these stars, which makes kind of collecting them... Oh my god, I'm garbage. Makes collecting them feel kind of shallow, to be honest with you. Let's see if we can just ride on top of this thing instead. And then we can just jump over here and do things this way. I mean, I still try to collect the stars, but that's mostly just be out of like a personal sense of satisfaction. It's not because we're actually gaining any reward for collecting the stars. So similarly, this chandelier is going to fall, by the way. Look out for that. We cannot... Oh, we got a life vest for that. That was a total accident. But the blue enemies cannot be hit in the same way that blue rocks cannot be hit. Normally, you can throw gems on red enemies, and this will create a situation where you are actually able to do damage to them or put them in an area where you're inaccessible to them, both of which are eminently valuable. Or, what is the word I'm looking for? Indubitably valuable. No, that's not what I'm going for. So we had a little bit of a lightning strike there. Chandelier is going to fall again, but I am still alive as we pick up our 150th star and just continue moving onwards here. We may indeed get to one boss battle before the end of this, and it would be a shame if I... Oh, I hate these enemies. It'd be a shame if I didn't, because the boss battles, at least that I've seen so far, have been one of the real strengths of the game. They've been classic-style platformer boss battles. They've been difficult, pattern-based. Think of like a Mario, or Super Mario World, or Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins type of style. Lots of good stuff going on there. Again, notice that there's bombs basically everywhere, so I never feel the need to buy them, and I think that's justifiable. But we could buy some here if we wanted to. Could not get more perfect timing than that, really. But I don't really feel like it's necessary. Now, here's a tricky situation. We could get these stars here. It's not going to be easy, though. But let's give it a try. So we'll try to sneak our way up here. Oh, we're so close. Maybe this one. But again, all this stuff kind of feels shallow because we can't really... I mean, we could buy more bombs, but we don't need more bombs. I suppose there's probably situations where you can use those bombs to get through more difficult areas without having to actually platform. That was bad. Like, maybe you can... that was also pretty bad. Maybe we can make this one work. Nope. Whatever, let's just get up here. I can't resist trying one more time. We're so close. What the heck was I going to say? Yeah, so maybe you can... use bombs to get past some areas that would otherwise be very difficult. This is bad because I'm destroying all this stuff up here and making it impossible for me to get those sweet golden stars, which are worth twice as much as your regular stars. But let's kill this dude. The way we do this is basically just, you know, letting him fire his rockets. I think we can run through him. Oh, no, I was lied to. We played this in co-op. My girlfriend was like, hey, I'm pretty sure you can run through that guy, but I didn't trust her. So I did it without doing that, and turns out I was correct. So suck on that. We're going to try to get up on this one, and then maybe get up here. Although, oh, I botched it pretty miserably. Okay, so here we go. The way we're going to handle this guy is basically he's going to shoot a rocket. I think it might wait until he sees us, so why don't we collect these stars first? Actually, we should collect them later. Because if we collect them now... okay, here comes the rocket, I think. And then we're just going to try to get this rocket to come into him, basically. Oh, God. Come back. So if we can get it to chase us... This was so much easier the first time. I think because I was actually using these platforms. So let's just get up here. By the way, the rockets are indeed... Oh, that didn't hit him? The rockets are indeed affected by the gravity wells. Alright, so that was a kind of a tight dodge. Got the job done, though. Oh, maybe it didn't? Nah, I got killed. This boss was seriously so easy my first time through the game. And again, that is the YouTube curse sometimes. As you are playing through the game on the internet, it can be a little bit more difficult than when you are playing through the game yourself. And also, we had two people to do this the first time. Which, again, doesn't necessarily make it easier. In fact, in some cases, this might hit him. Nope. In some cases, may even make it harder. By the way, it might seem right now like the life vest is a permanent upgrade. I assure you it's not. It's just because I'm restarting in the same spot each time here. So here's what I'm thinking. We come up here. We run away. Oh, God, the rocket is just a little bit faster than us. Believe it or not, this is like a mini-boss, I would say. The next boss is substantially more of a pain in the ass. But overall, Pit is not a difficult game. At least there's been very few places where I've been... I mean, it's not a difficult game at all from a puzzling standpoint. Let's put it that way. There's not going to be many situations when you're playing the game where you're like, I can't figure out what this puzzle is. It's going to be more like, oh, the platforming in this part is pretty difficult. Oh, we can actually hit him. Oh, the rocket hit the other rocket. What we could potentially do is maybe just kind of get like a revolving wheel of death going here, and this might push the rockets back at he who fires them. Maybe not, though. Oh, up. Here you go. Come back down. Maybe not. Oh, we actually managed to hit him once. Sadly, we've got to hit him 3 times. So this is not going supremely well so far. But if I just create... I just want to, like, hang out up here. And have the... No! Kill it! Okay, good. And again, we're just going to try to push the rocket away, basically. Oh, that's not going to work, and I am going to die again. Holy shit, we might be here for, like, 20 minutes. This was so easy my first time through. You know what we can do? Maybe this is the one thing that's going to change my mind. Is now I realize, hey, if we just see this guy over here, instead of fucking with him, what we can do... Oh, that didn't work. We can just toss some bombs at him. That'll do 1 damage each time. We can go back and buy some more, I guess. But we could just kill him by getting his own rockets to hit him as well. I really think this strategy right here has the potential to work. We just gotta make sure we don't fuck it up too much, because if we just stall the rockets from firing, basically... Oh, doesn't work. Doesn't work! Get out of there! Okay, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna buy 1 more bomb. And suddenly the whole currency thing doesn't seem so bad. And you know, that's why these are our first impressions videos, not reviews. Because sometimes, I might not know what the fuck I'm talking about. So this made things go a little bit faster, or this will make things go a little bit faster for us. I'm sure, given enough time, I could beat him the way I beat him the first time, but, you know, for the sake of brevity here, and, you know, the sanity of my viewers, why not do things the easy way? Toss a couple of bombs on him this way. And now that he's dead, that door will open up. We'll get another bomb, so we ended up not even spending that much. And now we can take some time to collect these stars. So I'm not going to call the video short quite yet, because we're getting ready to enter a new area. And you might be thinking right now, maybe like PID only has the same kind of visual style for each level. One of the strengths of the game is the fact that it does vary its aesthetic pretty substantially. Now, how are we going to get up there? Yeah, it does vary its aesthetic substantially with each new area. I'm just... have patience here as I completely fuck things up. So yeah, it's not like we're just dealing with exactly the same situation each time. That works so much better. These stars, by the way, are worth double the amount of normal stars, because they are secret to a certain extent, even though we could see them quite easily. So that's going to be quite the haul for us. There are also, you know, secret trinkets that we can get. I think it's pretty worthless for us to spend 100 on, oh, that was bad. To spend 100 on that life vest, when we could just get this one up here if I had the patience, which I don't. Anyway, we're going to drop down here and play a little bit more PID. But yeah, again, I'm not sure if I articulated this 100% all the way. If these guys discover us with their flashlight, they will kill us, so we don't want to, you know, be a part of that. We can also make them disappear, but they'll come back in a second. Yeah, but yes, again, for the 30th time, the fact that the artistic style differs, or aesthetic style differs on each world, is a neat part of PID that I perhaps have not given enough credit or shown off enough so far. Just gonna come up here. I'm not sure if this is anything over here. There are some secrets so far that I've probably missed, but, you know, I am not doing a Prima Games official strategy guide for PID or anything like that. I'm just playing through the game at my leisure, basically, talking about it to a certain extent. As you can see, like, the puzzles and even the platforming here is pretty easy. I'm not sure if this chandelier falls. Does not appear so. But yeah, the puzzling is pretty easy. The platforming sometimes can be a little bit tricky. But I really feel like I'm kind of doing a disservice, might be a strong word, but this is not the way PID is meant to be played. The way PID is meant to be played, I believe, firmly actually, is in a co-op kind of standpoint, or a co-op method. The problem with that is, and I haven't mentioned this yet, I should have mentioned it earlier because it's a huge part of the PID experience, I guess you could say. I can't get that last star, but that's okay. Is that the big problem with this is that PID does not have online co-op. It only has local multiplayer, which, you know, we talked to the guys at PAX and they mentioned that this is probably going to be the thing that people dislike most about the game, and I think that is absolutely 100% fair. The fact that the game does not have actual online multiplayer is a huge disservice, because I think most people are not, especially on Steam, most people are not going to be in a situation where they have 2 Xbox 360 controllers, or even 1 Xbox 360 controller, so I'm not sure even how this would control on the PC if you were both using keyboard and mouse. I'm not even sure if it would work at all, to be honest with you. Can I just kill this guy quickly? Yes, I can. So yeah, I think it's a problem that they do not have any online multiplayer. The fact that, I mean, it's not a big deal for me because I have, you know, the ability to play some local multiplayer here, and it's a lot of fun. However, you know, if you don't have that option, then you're kind of missing out on, I would almost say, over 50% of the experience of PID, because the real fun of the game is that, again, the kind of like new Super Mario Bros. Or Spelunky style co-op, where it's half constructive, like you're helping each other out, and half destructive, where, you know, you're throwing gravity wells and accidentally killing each other. I think the co-op plays really well. Especially if you're the first player. If you're the second player, you might have some camera woes, as I've mentioned earlier. But, you know, as someone who's only really played as the first player, it worked out totally fine for me. Now, this is, when we played it, one of the hardest times that we had, because we're introduced to kind of a new enemy type. Enemy type is maybe not a strong word, but hazard type. That was a total pain in the ass. But first, there is an easy secret to get up here. So we'll just come up here and get all these stars, which again, if you recall, are worth double. So we're going to get over 200 here. And again, stars are not doubled in multiplayer, so it's exactly the same amount. You just have to split it between you and your partner, which can create some problems, because when you buy something, it doesn't just come into your inventory. Again, sort of like Spelunky. It's basically just a box that you hold. This is the problem here. It's just a box that you hold, which makes it a little difficult. This is a problem. Go! Okay, actually, we made it through that the first time. That took me like half an hour when I was playing in co-op. I guess I just got lucky there. So why don't we play just a little bit more? What does this guy have to say to us in the winery here? The dining halls are directly below us. From there, you can reach the newer parts of the planet. You just have to find a way down. I can do that. How about this switch in front of you, old man, who probably drinks too much space wine? So we'll just do things this way. There are some patterns in PID that you will get used to, like spikes horizontal. You need a oh, fuck this. Now this was easier in co-op, I'll admit. Oh, there we go. You can do it. I don't know why that enemy was actually more difficult in co-op, even though it seems like they'd be 100 times easier. Oh, we don't want to mess around with that just yet. Okay, now we'll come up here. And once we get through this, I think we'll be in the dining hall. I'll probably call it quits just as soon as we get to the dining hall, just so that you can see the kind of aesthetic change. It takes on like a Be Our Guest style Gaston from Beauty and the Beast environment, which I think we're just going to fall into right now. And we'll have our first boss fight at the end of this, but I'm not going to play all the way. So yeah, that's going to do it, I think, for this Let's Look at a PID. Overall, I have not a strong, but I have a positive impression of this game. But I think it's going to be a tough sell because of the fact that it doesn't have online multiplayer. If you have someone to play local multiplayer with, and, you know, $10 seems like a good value proposition for you to spend, you know, an afternoon or two. Well, probably just one afternoon, seeming as the game is probably around like 4 to 5 hours long, judging by achievements. But yeah, if that's a good value proposition for you, I think you're going to have a good time with PID. I've had a good time with PID so far, although I will admit I'm having less fun with it single player than I was with multiplayer. But if you're, you know, all by your lonesome and you're playing this on PC or XBLA or maybe PSN, if that does indeed exist, which I should probably know if I'm doing my due diligence, then yeah, I think it's kind of a tough sell, because the most fun by far is going to be had by playing this with your friends. By the way, the way we kill these guys is just by throwing our beam into their little funnel at the top, which oftentimes gives us consumables, which is yet another reason not to buy it. So there's some half-baked ideas in PID, but overall I think it's a decent amount of fun. You know, just your standard kind of above average puzzle platformer. It's not going to change the world, but if you got somebody to play it with, I think you could have quite a good time with this. But in any case, as always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.